that Newcastle United will be a great club once again, and we are doing it. Eddie Howe is bringing that belief back to Newcastle United. Manda Staveley, Gadassi, the Rubens and PIF have brought back that belief to Newcastle United. Newcastle have confirmed today that Eddie Howe is the new Newcastle United manager. Hi guys, welcome back to 100% Mags. So tomorrow will mark the 1 year anniversary of Eddie Howe being appointed as the Newcastle United manager. And in this video today, we are going to show our absolute respect to Eddie Howe and what he has done in Newcastle United. In only 1 year, he has turned this team around from the absolute shambles that we were under the previous regime and under the previous manager, if you want to call him that. Of course, the first game in charge for Eddie Howe would have been the home game at St James's Park against Brentford, where, of course, we ended up drawing that game. Probably should have won it, but Eddie Howe had to see that one on from a hotel room in Newcastle, as, of course, he picked up a positive COVID test ahead of that game. So Tyndall had to see that game out, of course, with Jones is his right-hand man for that game. But then the first game for Eddie Howe, it didn't go to plan as we went down to the capital to take on Arsenal. It was obvious it was going to take a little while to get the team working in Eddie Howe's philosophy. And of course, it did take a little while to do that, as of course we picked up our first win under Eddie Howe as the Newcastle United manager on the 4th of December at St James's Park against Burnley. Of course, then we went on to unfortunately lose 4-0 to Leicester, lose 3-1 to Liverpool, lose 4-0 to Manchester City. Again, still trying to get the team working with that philosophy, getting rid of that rot that was there from the previous regime. And of course, then we picked up a draw at St James's Park against Manchester United. Unfortunately losing in the FA Cup tie to Cambridge, which Eddie Howe said recently, that he was very, very disappointed in that. But at the end of the day, he was still trying to get the team working into the philosophy. You could see that Eddie was trying to build that togetherness in the team at that point. We then picked up a draw, of course, against Watford in a 1-1 game at St James's Park, but the real magic really started to show on the 22nd of January last year when we took on Leeds United down at Elland Road. John Joe Shelby picking up the only goal in the game on the 75th minute. It was an absolutely fantastic game for Newcastle. It showed that Eddie Howe's philosophy was starting to be shown into the team. His movements was starting to get into the team as well. And then, we ended up going away for the first break away to Saudi Arabia against Al Ittihad. We'll come away from that game 2-1 winners in a friendly there. We'll come back, after that game to go again in the Premier League after that win against Leeds. And, that's where, again, the magic continued. We got 3-1 against Everton, a 1-0 against Villa, both at St James's Park, of course, a 1-1 draw down in the capital against West Ham at the London Stadium, a 2-1 win at the Brentford Community Stadium as well, a 2-1 win against Southampton, and, of course, that spanned 7 unbeaten games in a row from Leeds United to Southampton. Of course, only losing out that unbeaten run in the game against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, which we all know that game. If you don't go back and look at the, highlights of that game, it was that game where Kai Havertz was a pantomime villain throughout the game. He should have probably been sent off, and then, of course, he ended up scoring the goal in the game that won the game for Chelsea 1-0. And then that game on the 17th of March at Goodison Park, again, another disgusting game, seeing Iwobi pick up the win in the game on the last 90 plus 9 minutes. It's for Everton to pick up that win in the game, but then again, we went away again for another trip to Saudi Arabia for Gulf United game where we won 5-0 in that game, coming back again into the Premier League. Unfortunately losing that game at Tottenham, down at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium 5-1. But then, that run of form coming in again, for the latter end of the season where we won 1-0 against Wolves with Chrissy Wood picking up the goal in the game. The game against Leicester, 2-1 win. Gamerish. The game against Palace, a 1-0 win with Miggy Almiron scoring the goal. A 3-0 win against Norwich City down at Carroll Road. A 1-0 loss, unfortunately, to Liverpool at Anfield, at St James's Park. A 5-0 loss, unfortunately, to Manchester City at the Etihad. A 2-0 win against Arsenal, costing Arsenal the Champions League spot last season as well. Having to make them play in the Europa League this season, and then that last game of the season to see it all out, down at Turf Moor against Burnley, with, of course, Newcastle coming away winners 2-1 in that game. Rolling on to this season, and we've seen the fantastic form that Eddie Howe is putting out this season for us to watch. It's just an absolute dream to watch. Us Newcastle United fans are really enjoying it. We're seeing some really good run of form this season as well. We're seeing some really good games. We're seeing, Newcastle pick up a 2-0 win on the opening day against Nottingham Forest. A draw against Brighton. It should have been possibly a win against Brighton. Then you roll on to the game against Manchester City, going 1-0 down, but then going 2-1 up. Then 3-1 up in the second half, for that then to end in a 3-3. Roll on to the game, against Tranmere Rovers. We'll go through that game down at their ground, of course. Then, of course, that game against Wolves as well this season, down at the Molineux, a 1-1 draw. Unfortunately, the game at Liverpool where we ended up seeing, a loss, which should have possibly been a win for Newcastle, but hey-ho, we moved on after that to the game, of course, against Crystal Palace at St James's Park. Possibly should have been a win as well, but again, a draw. A game against Bournemouth, again, possibly should have been a win, but again, a draw. Then we'll roll on to an impressive game down at, Craven Cottage against Fulham. Again, and an absolute fantastic performance. Again, we'll roll into the next game after that as well. It's St James's Park against Brentford, where we came away 5-1 winners in the game. Roll into the game against Old Trafford in 3 games in a row as well. One at Old Trafford, of course, where we drew 0-0. Then the home game at St James's Park, the 1-0 goal by Miggy. Then, of course, we're seeing Miggy scoring again in the game against Tottenham down in the capital, with Callum Wilson also picking up the goal in the game to make it 2-1. Harry Kane scoring their goal, of course. We'll roll on to the game at St James's Park again in Aston Villa. We've beaten Aston Villa 4-0. We'll roll on to this game just gone yesterday, against Southampton down on the south coast, and we're coming away 4-1 winners in that game. Almiron again on the score sheet. So it's just absolutely amazing. This is what Eddie Howe has brought in Newcastle United in only 1 year. 1 year in the job, and Eddie Howe has done more than the previous, manager, if you want to call him that, ever did in his time at Newcastle United. And, Eddie Howe is starting to do things that, Kevin Keegan was doing in the 90s. He's starting to, do things that Bobby Robson was doing in the 2000s as well. It's just absolutely amazing, attractive football, high-intensity football, and dare I say, entertainers 2.0, because we are absolutely delivering whoopings right, left and centre to teams. We've got the game, of course, on Wednesday coming up, 7:45 kickoff in the League Cup, of course, at St James's Park. Would have really wanted to be there, but unfortunately, tickets are sold out for that game now, so I won't be able to attend that with my family, unfortunately. So I'll have to watch that on the TV at home. Hopefully, we can come away from that game and progress into the next round of the League Cup. But it is a Premier League outfit, so let's see what we can do in that one. There will be a preview on the channel for that, but this video is entirely just talking about, the absolute brilliance that Eddie Howe has shown in Newcastle United. And it's not just Eddie Howe neither. It's also, Eddie Howe's coaching staff, Jonesy, Tyndall, all of the other lads as well, the players as well. There's just a real togetherness in the team. I've talked about it on the channel so much since Eddie Howe's came in. The first thing Eddie Howe did when he came in was get all the players together, get them to write their names of their families down onto a piece of paper, write all of their stuff down onto a piece of paper and just pour it into the ball. Everybody just, gets to know the birthdays of all the family members of the players, so everybody can just be like a real big family. That's what it is at Newcastle United. That's what, makes teams like this, just being together, being united, being unified in one goal. And that is what the owners are as well at Newcastle. We're all unified in one goal to push in the right direction, and that direction is upwards, and it's working. Just by the way we're playing this season, we're now currently sitting in third. Come Christmas Day, we will still be sitting in the top four. There's nothing that can change that now. Newcastle will be sitting top four, regardless of what happens in the game against Chelsea on November 12th, because the World Cup, is coming up. So regardless of what happens in that game, we will still be sitting in the top four, on Christmas Day. So enjoy that thought in your heads. Any rival fans that are watching, us Newcastle United fans are going to absolutely enjoy that thought that, we will be sitting inside the top four when we are tucking in our Christmas dinner on Christmas Day. And that is a beautiful, beautiful thought when you consider what we've had to go through over the past 14, 15 years, of absolute dross ownership. And now we are reaping the rewards of our sacrifice that we have had to take as Newcastle United fans, and seeing our absolute soul being crushed at our club, our beloved Newcastle United being crushed by a tyrant sportswear owner, and now we are reaping our rewards for that sacrifice and for our, long trust and hope and belief in that Newcastle United will be a great club once again, and we are doing it. Eddie Howe is bringing that belief back to Newcastle United. Manda Staveley, Gadassi, the Rubens and PIF have brought back that belief to Newcastle United, and we are back where we belong, up in the top echelons of the Premier League, competing with the tip top of the Premier League as well, and we will be dancing the night away in European nights to come. So that is my 2 pence on Eddie Howe's 1 year as Newcastle United manager. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you like this video, please hit a like on it. Please show support to the channel as well, as we're on the road to 1.5k subscribers. And if you want to support the channel by donating, then please do down by the thanks button below. Any donations are appreciated, little or big, it doesn't matter. They're all appreciated all the same. Until next time, I'll see you all later, and however lads!